Welcome. In my last video, I went over how to collect a list of high quality Instagram leads within your niche. In this comprehensive video, I'm going to condense as much value as I can regarding how to contact these leads and turn them into clients. So let's get right into it. So in our last video, we put together this simple yet extensive lead list here of mainly motivational pages or self-improvement pages. And so what we're going to do here is I've already added one more column from it. We are going to fill in this information so we can begin tracking them. So these first three columns I'm going to write in sent, contacting, pitched. And then in this column I'm going to write status. And all you need to do for this one is I'm going to go insert in the top left, and it's a bit different from Microsoft Excel, but you should be able to do similar. I'm going to add a drop down, and I'm going to add a few options in here and then add some colors. So I've got deciding, confirmed, denied, not a good fit, and then the final one is lost cause for pages who you've contacted repeatedly and they just haven't replied at all. And then we'll add some colors into this just to help us code it a bit better. Maybe like that, and not so good for that. There we go. And pull that down all the way here. Before we get into contacting, there's a few aspects you need to consider that are crucial for ensuring you succeed and avoid dangers that could drastically affect your journey. So as I described in my other video when creating this list, it is good to have at least a few hundred or a few thousand leads in your list, otherwise you're unlikely to see results. But with the leads that you have, I know as much as you might like to smash all of the contacting out in one day, you might find that this might put your Instagram account at risk of suspension or banning. So starting off contacting, especially within your first week, I recommend keeping within a range of about 20 to 50 new DMs each day. And this is especially more flexible for accounts that are a bit more trusted in regards to being older in age, having shared more content, and have engaged in lots of accounts over the years. When contacting leads, it's good to be cautious of how your page or your account might be perceived. So if your account is new, looks possible to be scammy, it seems unprofessional, it is very likely that your leads won't trust you as much and might avoid conversation with you. So as I briefly showed in my other video, I have two main accounts that I contact leads on. I have my theme page, my self-improvement theme page that matches the niche of my leads, which as you can see here, I've got decent setup and I've got all my posts and that kind of thing. And I also use my personal account, which also has quite a good setup. And the reason these work quite well is because both of them have quite a realistic name. It's not random, it's not scam looking. It also has quite a detailed bio. I've got posts on both accounts. You don't have to have that, but it does come in handy. I've also got realistic profile pictures. It's not just something random I've grabbed off the internet. I have highlights, which are good for just showing I have history and I've actually posted on this page and it's decently aged well. And I've also got links in both of my bios. Now this is something that's a bit tricky for some people, but adding simple link trees with your links or adding some landing page is really good for building trust with your leads. So there's many methods for contacting leads, but I've managed to curate a list of quite effective methods that I've found that could work for you or might not work for you for actually contacting leads and bringing them into clients. So the first method, which is one of the most obvious, and I don't completely recommend, but it's definitely something worth trying, is just jumping right into contacting them with your sales pitch or your offer. Now, this will drive away a lot of your leads because they're not looking to buy anything off you. They have no reason to go with you for any services. They don't really feel like they need anything. But the main thing you've got to realize is your first goal of initially contacting these pages is to try and get their attention and try and get them to respond or engage in your message. So sending them a pitch will work for some leads, but unfortunately it will deflect a lot of your possible leads. The main method that I recommend is what I'm going to call the switch method. And so there's multiple variants to this method, but the main concept behind it involves starting a general conversation with your lead and building rapport, and then slowly switching the conversation to offering your pitch. And so there's three ways to start this situation in regards to initial conversation that you have with them. It can involve asking them a question about their page or something they're offering, giving them some kind of compliment, or simply just messaging them, hey. And then later in this video, I'm going to show you how you can then use this method to then switch the conversation around and then slowly offer your pitch in a way that's quite effective. And then two other really good methods worth trying involve, say, sending a video, and this video can be you talking about either what you offer or something that allows you to then follow through with that video. And then another really good method that I see a lot of people do involves replying to stories. So say one of your pages post some story with like a question or some kind of comment, replying to that story with your opinion can be a great way to grab your lead's attention. But for this video, I'm going to focus on the switch method. So as I get into contacting these pages, it's important that I maybe state a quite confronting statistic around sales, and that about 80% of sales are acquired as a result of 5 or more follow-ups to a lead. And so this means that even after your initial contacting with your leads and possibly running quite in-depth conversations, you might find that majority of your leads don't end up resulting in a sale. I'm going to grab my first lead here, just copy the link, and I'm going to paste it into my web browser here. And so opening the page, I'm just going to duplicate the page so I have a copy of their page that I can look at, and I'm going to open message. And so using the switch method, I'm going to keep this one very simple, and I'm just going to write hey, and because this account's a professional account, I'm going to move them into general because these are leads, I'm contacting them, they're not close friends or pages I know really well. Then insert some text actually, which I'm not sure you can do on Excel, but I'm just going to set this as black, and then I'm going to copy that. Ugh, don't do this to me, copy it all the way down there, then do that. Then we can go all the way down. All the way down to about there, cool. So I can then say for this one, I've contacted them, and so then I'm going to open this one and paste that there, and I'll paste another one here just so I can keep the page open, and I'm then going to open the message. And just to keep a bit of variety, because you don't want to be sending hey to hundreds of pages all at once, because I think Instagram might find that a bit suspicious. So it's good to mix up your messages and include a few things. And I'm going to have a look at this guy's link here, see if there's any questions I could ask him. Let's have a look. And what I might do is, because he's a decent sized page and this looks like quite an extensive digital product he's got there, I'll ask him, hey, did you make the guide in your bio yourself? And so this guy's likely to reply to this, depending on whatever the answer is, because he knows maybe I have some interest in one of the products he offers, so why wouldn't he reply to it? So I'll just close that off, and then I can say, yep, sent, and then we'll open another one in 2 browsers again, just to keep it easy. Open the message, just another large page, and then what I might ask this guy is, hi, let's have a look at how many. He's got quite a few posts. I might say, hi, I noticed you had quite a few posts, was interested in how long you have been running your page to grow it that large. And so using the last switch method, I've copied this page here, I'm going to open up it here, and I'm going to take a different approach. So I'm not just going to say hey, and I'm not going to ask a question, but what I'm going to do with this page is I'm going to give them a compliment. I might just say something like, in the actual message thing, hi man, just wanted to say I love the design of the content on your page. There we go. Then I might just write awesome aesthetic. There we go. Cool. Send that and move him to general again. And so that's now 4 pages I've contacted. So I'm just going to do that for maybe the first 50 or 100 leads in this list. Awesome. So because this is a video, I've chosen to only contact 50 pages, and what I've done is I've waited quite a few days, and so now I should have quite a few messages in regards to people that have responded to me on both accounts. I only have a few, which isn't too bad. So what I'm going to do before I actually begin replying to these people and engaging in the main contacting in the switch method is I'm just going to go through this whole list and see if we can follow up with a few of the pages that haven't replied yet. Awesome, so I've now gone through all of the 50 I've got. I've crossed off a few off the list that I had a few problems with, but mainly what I've done is I've just followed up with a lot of these messages with things that I'm hoping will grab the lead's attention, but obviously some of them won't respond, so that's fine. So now that we've completely finished the initial contacting of leads, and we've got a few responses and we're waiting on a few more, it's important to know that after you receive the attention of your lead, this is your opportunity for you to begin to build trust with them and get to know your possible client. So this is done by asking questions to your lead, and I don't just mean questions that are going to get like a single word response, like a yes or no response. You want to try and aim for more in-depth response from the client, and then so you can start taking the conversation to more of a business-minded perspective if it isn't already. So let's go through a few scenarios based on the responses I've received so far. So obviously the responses I've got so far, I'm not ready for more of a business perspective. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to have a few general questions, similar to some of our initial questions with the other pages, but just to start to get to know the client. So obviously this one, the guy's just going, "What's up?" So I can say something like, maybe, "Not much, man. How about you?" And then I can ask him a question to try and carry on the conversation. So maybe I could have a look at a few of his other pages. Oh, I feel like I've seen this one before. Maybe something like, "I noticed you have quite a few theme pages. Was interested to know how long you have been running them." Oh, not running them, have been doing the IG theme page business. And so this just allows me to get more of an idea of who this lead is and some of the stuff they do, and then I can carry on this conversation before I bring on more of a business perspective. So maybe I can have a look at another one. So I've asked about his Twitter, and then he's replied. And so I'm just going to try and carry on the conversation, replying to his message, and just say, "Wow, that seems like quite an effective system," considering that this page has been doing this quite a lot, I believe. And then just add to it saying like, "Good job, man." And then asking the question, something like, just to get to know a little more, "Do you use other platforms as well?" And then for just one more scenario, I'm going to reply to a replied compliment, I guess you could call it. And then I might say, "Good man, anytime." And then throw in the question. And this is kind of jumping right into it, but it's quite a valuable question for pages like this. "If you don't mind me asking, was interested to know if your page is monetized." And just to make it not seem stressful or sales-like, I'll say, "Just considering how large your page pages. And make sure I got the question mark. It is. Cool. So obviously this is quite a simple process. It's just having general conversation with your possible leads. Don't need to be awkward about it. Just be very much you. And this process still applies if you chose the method of replying to the lead's stories, or if you did send a video and it was on the topic of your services, then obviously you're going to be jumping right into talking about your services rather than building this rapport initially. But either way, doesn't matter as long as you start to build that conversation with your leads, and then you can start taking the conversation to more of a business perspective. Now, flowing the conversation to be more in a business perspective is quite a simple process, and it just involves asking the right questions. So whatever you're talking about, you need to start asking simple questions regarding their business, whether it's about monetization or it's about something that links to your services to some extent. Is a great way to slowly ease your conversation to then offering your offer. And the reason I say offer and not something like a script is because a script is very generic and can be used for any single page. And I don't deny the benefits of having a script, and I will consider some of the aspects of it. However, having a clear offer and personalizing it to the person you're talking to is a really great way to encourage them to consider your offer. And this is why it's really crucial that you understand in depth what your services are and what you're doing, as you need to be prepared for a variety of questions that your leads might ask you. And this can surround questions like how it works, the cost, how long you're going to be doing it, who's involved in it, and what are some of the steps that they're actually going to have to take to ensure that it happens. There is a variety of questions you need to be prepared for, and it's really crucial that you understand what you're offering really well. Alright, so we're just going to look into an example offer that I've used before and look into some of the reasons why it works. So the offer goes like this. I help self-improvement pages craft a personalized email strategy that will ensure you stop losing potential from your followers. Set up completely free in less than a week. And there's a few reasons why this works quite well and gets quite a lot of attention. One, it's quite short and punchy. Two, it's got a very clear audience with the self-improvement pages. Three, it also has a level of mysteriousness in the sense that I haven't said exactly what it is, but I've given a broad enough a description that they know what it's about, and so they want to start learning more. And four, and this is one of the most important things, is that it focuses on loss. So it says, ensure you stop losing potential from your followers. So instead of saying, I'm going to add this to you, I'm going to give you this thing which will add to your page or your brand, I'm focusing on the fact that they're actually losing something currently, and that kind of pain point is very encouraging to help them consider your opportunity. And also another one of the key things is it says set up completely free in less than a week. So obviously it will vary on the services you're doing, so you might not be doing it for free, but the fact that it says less than a week gives them a time frame certainty to ensure that it's more likely that this service is going to happen. It's not something that they say, oh, we're going to do this, and then they don't get around to it for a long time or don't do it at all. So it gives that certainty that it's going to get done within a short time. Now, obviously, your particular offer is going to vary drastically depending on what services you're offering. But it's important to notice that you need to include a few things to describe what your offer is. And depending on what you're aiming for after this message, you need to personalize your offer to encourage, say, the lead to follow a call to action. So for example, if you're looking to get the lead onto a video call or something like that, you might want to put that at the end of your offer, encouraging them to say, if you're interested, jump on, I would love to jump on a sales call with you or something like that, but don't make it sound sales-like. Or for other situations, you might want to add another question at the end of your offer saying something like, sound fair, or is this something you're interested in? Because the idea is you want to get feedback from your lead to try and see where they're at. So I'm just going to reply to his message here, and I'm going to make sure I personalize the offer to some extent. So to do this, I'm going to focus on his theme of stoicism, and I'm going to say, I noticed a common theme of stoicism on your pages. Absolutely love the philosophy, and then I'll say, talking about the offer, I'll say, I help self-improvement pages such as yours build personalized email strategies that help you stop losing potential from your followers. And then I'll go into saying that all set up completely free in less than a week. I'm just going to keep it short and simple like that and send that, as I don't want to go too much into it and I want to make sure they stay curious and start asking questions. And then just looking at another scenario, this was used with a slightly different script. You can see I got the conversation to talking about a proposal after talking about a few things, and then I gave the offer, and then soon after they started asking questions about the offer and what it involved. Alright, so linking back to the statistic we talked about earlier, one of the main things you have to prepare for and consider is pushing through rejection. And what I don't mean by this is forcing your leads to consider your services when they really don't want to. But what I mean is there's a few types of rejections you might see. So there's the leads who say they're not really interested or considering this opportunity at this time. And there's also the leads that you'll see who are sort of unsure, or they're not really messaging back with your things and they're not really taking the conversation anywhere. Now, the best thing you can do, and especially considering the statistic we talked about earlier about follow-ups, is it's really important that you keep pushing these leads to really consider your opportunity and convincing them that what you're offering is a life-changing opportunity, because otherwise you're wasting potential with your leads. So think of it like this: the only scenario in which you truly accept a rejection from your lead is when they're very sure, and in most cases have some sort of a reason why they can't accept your offer, whether that's that they already have someone working for them doing something, or that there's some financial issue, or maybe they're shutting down their page or something. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that there's a good reason why they're not considering your service, because otherwise not just you are losing opportunity, but your leads are also losing opportunity for your services. Okay, so now let's imagine this scenario. You've collected a massive lead list, you've contacted a bunch of leads, you've pushed through rejection, and you've used your particular offer to encourage your leads to consider your opportunity, and now you have a lead that's interested in your services. Now, the most important thing that you do at this stage is to make sure you're very proactive with taking action on your services. So you don't want to be leaving your leads hanging about what to do. You don't want to be unclear about what needs to go on. You need to be very clear about the next steps that either you or they need to actually take action to your services. So whether that's signing agreements, setting up accounts, getting access to accounts, accessing important information, giving them plans and schedules and getting agreements through, all these different elements you need to consider to make sure that you can provide the best services within the shortest time possible. Alright, that pretty much sums it up. Just a few final tips to consider is make sure you're always checking your spelling, because it will be very unprofessional if you're sending messages that have heaps of spelling errors. Make sure that you're doing this, you're contacting regularly. So don't have one day where you contact all your leads and then you don't contact them again for 3 days. Try and be in contact with your leads as regularly as possible, preferably like once or twice a day, whether that's you checking in the morning and in the afternoon. That kind of system is a really good way to keep track of it all. And also remember to use your spreadsheet to keep track of all your contacting, as it's very easy, especially with contacting high quantities of leads, to lose track of all the people you're contacting and where you're up to. So using the simple spreadsheet that we've used is a really great way to keep track of it. Alright, so I wish you guys all good luck in your lead contacting, and just remember that the methods shown in this video are more ideas for you to practice that have worked previously in the past, but also remember that it's really good to experiment with different methods yourself to find what works best for your particular scenario. Thank you, and see you in the next one.